When do you know that they're the one? I want to talk to you about that tonight because I've been searching your profiles. Yes, I've been looking through Facebook. I've been nosy. And I'm just going to go put it out there. I've been nosy. I've been looking at some of your Facebook profiles. And some of you yesterday didn't have anybody. You were down in despair. You didn't know what you were going to do. You were lonely. Many of you had just came out of a previous relationship. But then I go on your page today, and you're talking about this person is the one. Oh, this person is so wonderful. And I'm looking at my watch. I'm looking at the calendar. I'm looking through your timeline. And and it doesn't add up. God bless you, Maria Mitchell. Thank you so much for your support for my post. I bless God for you and your pastor, Pastor Ronald Green. I'm looking through your timeline, and it's not making any sense. I'm so glad that Facebook switched over to the timeline because now people can sort of see where you're actually being inconsistent. I didn't want to move over to the timeline when they were switching to that format. I hung on as long as I could. But here it is. Yesterday, you didn't have anybody. You were in despair, didn't know what you were going to do. You were lonely. And now all of a sudden, God bless you, Chaplain Haskins, you and your family. All of a sudden, you're in love. And this person is the greatest thing since sliced bread. When do you know that they're the one? I'm just going straight to it. I'm not even going to try to build up to it. A relationship has to be tested and tried. Can I get a witness out there? Am I talking to anybody tonight? You can't judge whether a relationship is good or not when in the beginning it's all good. I'm going to say that again. You can't judge a relationship in terms of saying that it's good if it has not been tested and tried. You haven't been through anything. You don't know this person. You don't know what it is to be with this person. They live in one town, you live in the next. Or they're busy working overtime. You don't know that person. Everything is good in the beginning. Unless you meet a nut. Sometimes these nuts show up immediately right away. But everything is good in the beginning. I'm telling you, there's been plenty of people in the beginning that said, whoa, that's Mrs. Cherry right there. Remember Eddie Murphy? That's Marcus Graham right there. That's the next Marcus. That's the next Sister Graham. She bad. But he's judging off her feet. Yeah. He was judging, Eddie Murphy and Boomerang was judging how she looked in public. He was judging how she was in the bed. He was judging because she didn't have any bumps on her feet. But just because somebody don't have no corns or no bumps on their feet, no hammer time in their feet, doesn't mean that they don't have bumps and hammer time in their heart. I'm just telling you. Many of us, because we want something so desperately, we take chances that we shouldn't take. Thank you, Pastor Howard. You said you just counseled a couple that needed it before the wedding. Sometimes we as pastors, you come to us all excited, but we ain't as excited as you are. You come to us wanting us to agree and affirm this thing you found at the club. You want us to agree and affirm this thing that you just happened to run up on. And we can see certain things that you can't see. Ladies and gentlemen, anything that hasn't been tested and tried, you're putting yourself up for a lot of turmoil and danger. I'm just telling you, every now and then it just works out. You meet somebody, love at first sight, as y'all say, and it's all working. Oh yeah, woo! And so every now and then I've had people say, oh, well, Pastor, you preach all this stuff, but I've got a friend, or me, I slept with them on the first night. We've been together 20, 30 years. Baby, that is just, it's not, that's just an exception to the rule, but that is not a normal thing. Your relationship has to be tried. You really don't know what you have unless your relationship has been tried. You really don't know if the house can stand unless it's been tried by the weather, through storm, through rain. What kind of house do you have? Is your house going to be a home? It has to be tried. I'm into buying used cars because I don't have to pay the luxury tax and I'm not rich. But I'll buy a luxury car that's a few years old and you don't know how many miles. I'm chilling. It looks great on the outside. You think it's brand new. You don't know how many miles are on the inside. You don't know how many miles the car has. It looks great on the outside. One thing I've learned is when you buy a used car, and every one of us are used cars. I'm just telling you tonight. Yeah. Every one of us are used cars. You're not no virgin. You ain't been in no tunnel all your life. You haven't been preserved like that girl on Coming to America for the Prince Akeem. You've been sowing your Royal Oaks. Somebody, Nisi from the Bahamas is with us tonight. You've been through something. So all of us are used cars. One thing I know one thing I've learned, thank you, Miami, if I buy a used car, I never jump in that car and go out of town and put it on the road. Because that car hasn't been tested and tried. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever been stuck out on the road in a car, that is one of the most horrible feelings. I don't even care if the tow truck is on the way. A lot of times it's a couple of hours, particularly if it's nighttime. I'm not going to do that. But one time I bought this BMW. And I don't know what I was thinking. But as soon as I got it, that weekend, I bought it that Friday. And I grabbed some fun. I said, okay, we're going on the road with it. And nothing happened, thank God. The BMW was pretty sound. But I took a big chance. And many of us take chances. Watch this. I got in the car and went from New Jersey to Virginia. One, because I wanted my family to see the car. And I wanted to be able to ride around town in this beautiful BMW. I wanted my relatives to see. And many times we don't take the time to test drive what we find in town first. We let our desire to want to show the person off. We let the desire of wanting to show the person, show people, well, look what I got. And you haven't had a chance in town to test drive this thing. Miami Taylor says, I don't take chances with my heart. This is exactly where you need to be. You need to say, you know what? I'm not putting something out on the road that haven't been tested and tried before. Let me give you a couple of scriptures. Y'all know me. It's going to be Bible. Jeremiah 12:3 says, but thou, O Lord, knowest me. How does he know? How does he know you? How does he know us? Thou hast seen me and tried mine heart towards thee. Your relationship even with the Lord has to be tested and tried. And if your relationship with the Lord has to be tested and tried, how much more so you with some rascal that you don't even know? Psalm 66:10 says, for thou, O God, hast proved us. See, God ain't gonna have you in no raggedy relationship with him and you just around for the fishes and the loaves. There were so many folk that hung around Jesus just because they knew if they hung around them long enough that they were going to get a meal. They were going to get a fish sandwich. And there's been people in our lives. That's why everything's got to be tested and tried. There are people in our lives that come into our lives because of some external situation, something that they want externally. They're hanging around for what we got. They're hanging around because you got a nice apartment. They're hanging around because you got a nice house. They're hanging around because you got a nice car. They're hanging around because you got a nice body. They're hanging around because of how much money you make. You're hanging around because of your position. Everything that's worth its salt has to be tested and tried. Psalm 66:10 says, thank you, Jamie, for thou, O God, hast proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried. Last scripture here. Psalm 17:3. Psalm 17:3 says, thou hast proved mine heart. You know, if you love me, you need to prove your love to me. I know there's some songs out there that say that. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Raquel, Deborah. You've got to prove your love to me before I take you out of town, before I take you to meet my relatives, before I put this car of a relationship on the road. See, because I don't want to be stuck out there. Everything has to be tested and tried. Let me also say this. Have you ever gone to the store? You ever wanted something? And you went to the store and you found that there was only one left and the package was open. And they put tape on it. You know, you could tell that it's been, you go to Walmart, that it's been to the return center, whatever this item was, they guarantee it. But you could tell that it's been somebody's had this before and they got tape over it. Let me tell you something. If I can save some money, maybe I'll go ahead and get the return deal. But I'm the kind of guy, I like stuff fresh out the box. Oh, y'all ain't with me tonight. I like stuff that hasn't been tampered with. I like stuff that hasn't been opened and the package not torn, even though I don't really need the package. Once I retake whatever the contents out of the package, just the damaged goods. I like everything pristine. That's just, if I'm going to spend my money, I want it. It's got to be pristine. It's got to be on point. But many times, I've run into a situation where I wanted it so bad, I thought about it before I went to the store. I had it in my mind before I walked into the store when I was not suffering, but when I was scrambling, trying to get a parking space. Thank you, Maria. That I said, I'm getting that item. I'm coming back out with that item. I've done it too, Maria. I've done it too, Tasha, Aletha. I've done that too. And I said, okay. And you see, you get there, you finally get on that aisle, and it's got that, and you're like, oh, man, and it's only one left. And many times you don't feel like going to another store to see if they have it. You're like, all right, I'll go ahead on and grab it because it's the only one left and because of my desperation to have this thing. God has promised you something new. Something that was destined for you. Yeah, maybe they've been through other people. That's not what I'm talking about here. But in terms of spirit, how many of us have gotten with people because they were the only one left? You missed it. I don't even have time to unpack that tonight. What does that mean? Were they the only one left physically? No. But we were at a place in our lives, we wanted something so bad. By the time we got to the store, you could tell this has been something ain't right. Many times in my haste of getting that one, they only had one left. I got home and it didn't work. I got home with a piece of clothes and it was torn somewhere. or there was a spot on there. I didn't realize when I was looking at it because I was so excited about, I said, all right, I want this thing so bad. Or I got home, and better yet, some of the pieces, the critical pieces in making this thing work were missing. Laquita May says, I'm guilty. How many of us have done that? Because there was only one left. We couldn't wait. We had it built up. And that, I've looked on people's Facebook pages. You didn't have a man yesterday. You didn't have a woman yesterday. You were down and out yesterday, and all of a sudden, you got somebody new in your life, and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you talk about, oh, this is the one. You don't even know this person. All right. And you don't have to believe me, but I dare you to put a pin in this video. I dare you to mark this video, write this date down, mark what I tell you. Anything you don't know, anything that is not tested and tried, there's going to be consequences and repercussions. All right. Let me go to my next thing here. There's going to be consequences and repercussion. So, how can you tell if this person is the one? You're going to have to go through the period of fights. Yeah, I'm not talking about fist fights. You're going to have to go through the period of many arguments and disagreements because you're trying to work out things. You're your own person. They're their own person. Thank you, Deborah. And you're trying to figure out if you could come together, knowing that you're different from them. Let me help you. I'm going to help you understand something that you may not realize. Kimberly Thomas Newsom is on. Watch this. This is deep. Love, watch this, is about finding your compatible opposite. All right. I'm going to say it one more time. That's too deep for me to unpack tonight. Love is about finding your compatible opposite. When God cursed the ground that Adam had to work for and work through, he was trying to bring forth something from the ground, but it was cursed. And the nature of the things, he cursed it, which actually made the work hard work, meaning that it wasn't going to be easy for him. But working, even though because of sin that's in the world, working against something that's fighting against you helps you to bring something home to your house, to your family. Something that is contrasting and working against you. He had to fight with it in order to get it to reconcile, in order to bring it home to the family. Many times, if you try to find somebody just like you, that's a boring life. I'm just telling you. And many times we run over people or we discard people who are just like that. Those people are boring. You need help. God gave Adam a helpmeet. This woman was going to be different from Adam. She wasn't going to think like Adam. She wasn't going to make decisions like Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, in terms of your relationship being tried, you've got to be able to understand that you all are not going to agree, and this person that comes into your life isn't going to be your robot. Don't expect that. These are the things, some of the things you need to ask, and you need to really start thinking about when you're asking these questions. Ask them what the future looks like. Again, you can't just jump into some relationship. Thank you, Kimberly. You can't just jump in some relationship because the way somebody looks or what they say out of their mouth. You've got to try this thing. All right, what does the future look like? And see what they say. And see what they're saying in terms of what the things you're looking for, to see if those things, if you can work with those things. Can you imagine building a home together with what they just told you. Where are they at? Find out how they regard family. See, these are things you need to, while you're caught up, hopefully not in the sex, because you really shouldn't go there, because that's going to confuse some things. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Some of the most triflingest people, some of the most incompatible people, some of the most dangerous people for us are the folks that turn us out in the bed. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. You can't go by the physical, because some of the most trifling folks are the folks that turn us out. Y'all know, y'all ain't gonna admit it, but your husband, you love your husband to death, but he wasn't. Leroy, this is no good. I'm all right. Let me move from there. Let me move from there. Let me move from there. No, that guy at work that's got a wife. That woman that's got all kinds. Y'all know what I'm saying. So you can't get caught up in that, because that's going to shift you and move you into committing to something that hasn't been tried and tested. Find out if this person is willing to ever compromise with anything. Find out, does this person value your opinion? Again, it takes time. Marrying somebody during the hype phase, when everything is good in the beginning, is the worst thing you can do. How many of us have moved long distance to be with somebody that we did not know? Dual victory is on. God bless you, Dual. How many of us have done that? I've done it. And I got out there and the woman almost killed me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what, when I'm talking to you from many experiences that I've been through. I didn't know this woman. The relationship wasn't tested and tried. I was going by so many other things, peripheral things. And once they get you into their territory, that's when they'll take advantage of you. That's when, again, remember that example I gave of going into the store for something you want and they only have one left and it's torn, it's all, that's how they get you. There's only one on the shelf. And it depends on how bad you want it. And many of us have committed to things that were torn, already open, that was already repackaged. There were things that were missing from that person. When I go to a store and there's only one of an item and I want it so bad, Darryl Cherry has learned, baby. I don't care how long it takes, how long my wife's sitting out in the car, I'm going into the package. It's already open and torn anyway. I'm going to take my time and I'm going through the package. No. You caught me out there one time. I'm not going to be caught out there. I'm not getting all the way home with this thing and it doesn't do what I expect it to do. If it's something I can plug in, baby, I'm going to the nearest outlet and I'm plugging it in. Anything that you desire to take into the home of your spirit has to be tested and tried. Can y'all give me 5 more minutes? There was a heater that I bought at Goodwill. This heater was $7. This particular heater goes for over $150 in the store, brand new. Thanks, Janie. Because I only paid $7 for it, I was leery of it. And because I only paid $7 for it, I would never leave it plugged in, let alone on, when I wasn't home or wasn't watching it. Why? Because this thing was already used. it needed to be tested and tried. Have you ever bought something from the pawn shop and it worked in the pawn shop, but once you got it home, you realize after this particular thing has been on for a certain period of time, something's wrong with it, it cuts off or something. I don't know if y'all have ever done that. Or how many of you don't have to say it tonight, have sold something to the pawn shop knowing that it ain't worth nothing. You know you can get it past the test run. You know they plug it up to see if it works. But you know after it's been on an hour, it cuts off or it runs hot or it does. But you needed the money and you kind of y'all know sold that stuff to the pawn shop. A heater that I paid $7 for, I'm not going to bring that into my $400,000 house. Y'all ain't with me tonight. And leave it on and take the chance of this $7 heater burning up and destroying my $400,000 or $500,000 house. Oh, Lord. I could run right now off of what I'm getting ready to say. Many of us have taken too many chances with $7 folk, and we brought them into our expensive house, and we turned our back. How many of us tonight, when you realize your back was turned, there was a fire in the relationship. Your back was turned because they were working for a minute when you first plugged them in. Thank you, Byron. They were working for a few minutes, and you say, okay, I trust this person. When you see somebody on Facebook talking about this is the one and they don't even know this person, please know that they have not tested and tried that appliance. They haven't put any time in, and when their back is turned, that person most likely than not is going to burn their house down. Y'all not with me tonight. And they're going to be back on Facebook complaining and talking about how the Lord let them down and all that. But God is saying everything has to be tested and tried before you bring it into your house. I have a friend that slept with somebody that they met on Facebook. And that person, they were with them however long it took. That person ended up sleeping with them and giving them herpes. And the relationship that this person said that they wanted, once they transmitted the herpes, now all of a sudden, first of all, he said, it ain't me. And it's like, you were the only person I've been with. You're the only person I've been with. I've been celibate all these years. You're the only person I've been with. Well, and he said, I don't have it because he doesn't want to be responsible. Fire, burnt her up, burnt the house down. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't, after he got what he wanted, after he spread the herpes there, now all of a sudden, he doesn't want the relationship. You bring a $7 heater into your house, you better watch it. You bring a $7 heater in your house, you better leave it unplugged when you leave the house. This is something that you must always watch and keep it in your presence until it's been tested and tried. Don't you turn your back on that Negro. Don't you turn your back on that woman. Don't you turn your back on them. You don't know them. It takes time. It must be tested and tried. You leave it in your house, you leave it plugged in, it can burn your house down. And as Dual Victory, Victoria Lynn just said, and then they have the nerve to say, they're so confused with all of this. They put up as a status, Facebook relationship status, God bless you, Apostle Bell, is complicated. You know what is complicated means? It's complicated means that we come together for sex. We come together for the easy part. We come together for the connecting of our bodies to satisfy our fleshly needs. But it's complicated means that we don't have what it takes for us to have a real relationship, and they got somebody and I got somebody too, or we're not serious about each other, but we just come together. We can't fix anything else. This heater that we brought into the house is sparking, but we're keeping it because we're desperately cold on the inside. Oh, Lord, have mercy. We keep it because we're desperately needing some sort of heat and some sort of reassurance in our lives. And again, like I told you, my Facebook friend, you want heat, baby, deal with somebody that hasn't been tested and tried, you're going to get heat. Oh, yeah. Leave you with something that you got to deal with for the rest of your life. So, as I close tonight, I'm begging you. We all get excited when we first meet someone. We get excited about something that hasn't been tested and tried. Have you ever taken something home? They gave you a 30-day evaluation period, and you realized you didn't want it, and you said, I can't commit to that. I'm going to stop payment on my credit card. I can't commit. It's not what I thought it was. Tested and tried is going to help you come to better decisions. Now, of course, it's not foolproof. People change. You've been with them for years. They change. But this particular this mistake of gravitating and towards somebody that you don't know, putting your whole life because of your desperation to have that one item that you said you must have before you walked in the store, and you found out when you went to the store it was only one left, and that one has been used and the box is torn. Our desperation in many times of our lives leads us to make mistakes, and we turn our back when we should be watching. Oh yeah, after you done bragged on Facebook about this person being the one, after you bragged and said, oh, this person, oh, whoa, man, oh, they're everything. Again, that beginning thing, that's the hype phase. How do you know that this person is the one? Cheryl says, stop rushing and settling. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Bernetta. And I'm signing off. Thank you, John Richardson. One of the things is when this person, I've said it often, gets on your last nerve, but there's no other person that you want on earth that you want to be with. I get on my wife's last nerve. My wife gets on my last nerve. As I told y'all before, she sometimes gets on my reserve nerves. She passed that last nerve. She's on my reserve nerves. But I can't think of another person on earth. Dr. Artwright, God bless you for being with us. There's no other person on earth that I would rather be with. Our relationship has been tested and tried, and I still want to be here. I'm still focused. I can lay my phone down and leave the room, not worried about who's going to call, not worrying about what she can find on the phone, not worried about the text messages. Many of you jumped too soon, and you ended up picking up a broken product.